Welcome back. We are so excited to have you here listening to our third to last episode. It is episode 8 of season 2. We're going to be talking all about overconsumption around the holidays. It's middle of October, it's fall. We're going to talk about all of the holiday things. I'm Maria, I'm one of your co hosts.
And I'm Brennan. I'm your other co-host. There's only 2 of us. And that's more than enough.
We chat all things sustainable on this podcast. We talk about overconsumption. We talk about minimalism. We always end up talking about food and trad wives. So, typical.
And pretty much anything that crosses our mind. This podcast is called Talking in Spirals for a reason. But if you happen to be one of the very few people who shares our incredibly niche interests, this is about to be your favorite podcast. So thank you for being here. We're very excited to be yapping into some microphones about some things that we probably will end up spiraling about. In case you're unfamiliar with us, both Maria and myself are full-time sustainability-focused content creators, and you can follow us over on our own individual platforms. We talk about stuff like this all of the time, and we make a lot of content. So my handle is Brennan Kai, and Maria's handle is Living Planet Friendly. Everything will be linked in the show notes. I just feel like we forget to promote our own stuff on here. Maria has written a cookbook all about food waste reduction and cooking from scratch. It's incredible. Mine is currently in the mail. Should be here any day now.
I'm so excited.
I know. It's embarrassing to admit on the podcast that I didn't get your book until right now.
I mean, you heard me literally talk to you about it for a couple months, so I understand.
Well, honestly, when it came out, I was doing No by May, and I have no excuse.
Oh,
I'm
that's
I'm a bad
right.
friend, and I have ADHD, but I bought the book. It's on the way. I'm so excited. And yeah, if you're interested in following along, we talk about this stuff a lot, but today's subject matter for this episode is about sustainability around the holidays and overconsumption because we are heading into the holiday season. As all of you guys are very well aware, we're also heading into an election season. And if you're anything like us, you have stress on the topic.
Severe anxiety.
We thought about doing an election episode, and then we thought, you know what? People are seeing enough stuff about the election. Let's give you a little reprieve by talking about something light and chill, like the extreme Americanized overconsumption that comes along with the holiday season. Just a casual episode, nothing too heavy or disturbing. Just kidding. It's going to be awful.
Before we get into that, we do need to thank our sponsor.
Yes, today's episode is brought to you by the Almond Cow. Almond Cow has been my go-to way to make all of my nut milks from scratch. I have not bought plant-based milk from the store in years because I make my own from scratch. It's super simple, and the Almond Cow is an amazing machine that makes it really, really easy to do so. So I have been using that for at least 3 years at this point. I'm a big fan. I highly recommend. If you're looking to make milk from scratch, it is a bit of an investment up front, but it doesn't get any simpler when it comes to making your own milk. You can make pretty much any milk in the machine. I use it every couple of days, honestly. So, highly recommend. Thank you to Almond Cow. And you can use the code Brennan25 to get $25 off your order of an Almond Cow. Making milks from scratch reduces your waste because you're not constantly throwing out plastic bottles. And it also helps you avoid preservatives and additives, which is something we talk about a lot on this podcast because Maria has a lot of allergies. So
I'm an allergic child. It's fine.
She's an allergic child and she has to make a lot of things from scratch, hence writing an entire cookbook called From Scratch.
I see what you did there.
I'm tying it all in. Making your own milk from scratch is a great way to get started on the homemade kitchen restock side of things. And you can do that with the Almond Cow. Highly recommend. I've been using mine for at least 3 years, like I said, and it's definitely irreplaceable in my kitchen. So you can find the link to get a discount on your Almond Cow where you would expect to find the link. And we also have the code Brennan25, which you can apply at checkout to get $25 off. Thank you so much to Almond Cow for making my life a lot easier. If this is your first time listening to our podcast, we usually start every episode off with talking about our hyperfixations. So things that we're just really, really focused on at the moment because we both have that.
We are the way that we are.
Exactly. So I will start with mine. My hyperfixation right now is the fact that there are audiobooks on Spotify included in your Spotify membership, which I know I've mentioned before on here, but it's come to my attention that they're adding more and more all the time. And Carl Hyacin, who is one of my favorite authors, he writes satire about Florida, specifically through an environmentalist lens. And I know that sounds niche, and it is, but he's amazing. And he has absolutely inspired me throughout the course of my life because he's been writing satire, humorous books about the state of the environment and political world in Florida for like 30, 40 years. And he has, 20, 30 books out, and they're all so good. They're everything I need in life. If you've ever read the book Hoot, or seen the movie Hoot, that's like his young adult novel. And I think that that radicalized a lot of us when we were kids to be environmentalists. So, highly recommend giving his books a read or a listen if you're an environmentalist or a Floridian or any of the above. They are so funny and so heartwarming and interesting and clever while also having like a very environmentalist message behind them. So, I recently learned that almost all his books are available as audiobooks included in my Spotify membership. And that just made my day because now I go on walks and I listen to the audiobooks. I've read a lot of them, but it's really nice to listen to books after you've already read them. So, highly recommend checking that out. Next time you're thinking, oh, I kind of want to give that book a listen or a read, just search it in Spotify. If you already have it, it might be on there. And I don't know about you, if you have ADHD like I do, it's really a lot harder for me than I would like to admit to sit down and just read for like several hours. I kind of struggle with it. And instead of forcing myself to do it, I've recently kind of leaned into like audiobooks are better for me. I'm more likely to actually enjoy the book if I'm listening to it because I'm able to do things while also listening to it. Like I'll go for like a long walk and that kind of feels like habit stacking, multitasking, like I'm getting a little exercise in while I listen, or I'm listening while I'm running errands or cleaning my house or cooking. And I just really enjoy it. And I finish a book in like a couple of days when I'm listening to it. I know it's a different experience, but I really do enjoy it. So listening to Carl Hyacin books on Spotify right now is absolutely my hyperfixation. I highly recommend.
I am so thrilled to hear that it's your hyperfixation. I know we've talked about audiobooks before on the podcast, but it's so exciting to me that it's your hyperfixation. And I'm so glad that Spotify also just added audiobooks to the membership because I feel like a lot of people who wouldn't previously pick them up are starting to pick up audiobooks. And I'm the same way as you. I love audiobooks. I would say like maybe I'm like 50-50 now between picking up a physical book and listening to an audiobook instead. So I definitely approve of your hyperfixation.
Awesome. You gave me a
Um,
thumbs up.
thumbs up, literally on the camera.
And as we've talked about in the past, if you want to listen to audiobooks, you don't have to have Audible. You don't have to even have Spotify because of the Libby app, which I'm a big fan of. It's basically through your library card, you're able to listen to audiobooks. You just download the app and then enter in your library card information, and it's free.
I love Libby.
There are some downsides with Libby, like you have to sometimes wait for certain titles to become available to you, but it is completely free, which is amazing. So
Yeah.
I really love audiobooks, always have. My mom and I used to drive to Louisiana, where she's from, which is about a 10, 11-hour drive. We used to do that once or twice a year when I was a kid, and we would go to the library and get books on tape, and the actual tapes, which throwback, right?
Nostalgic.
You'd have to rewind them at the end. And
Oh my god.
yeah, it was a very nostalgic thing for me. So that's how we would handle those 10, 11-hour drives. And it's just cool to be listening to audiobooks now. I'm back into it. I'm loving it. So highly recommend.
I love audiobooks. I listen into them when I'm cleaning. I listen to them when like I'm sitting here editing. I love
Nice. I'm
audiobooks.
glad to hear that. So, what is your hyperfixation?
I don't know what it is about this time of year, but I am in my season of decluttering where I would like to throw every single thing in my house out and get rid of everything. So, my hyperfixation currently is decluttering. I've been doing mini decluttering sessions at least 3 to 4 times a week. And I've been posting things on my Buy Nothing group. I've been giving stuff to friends and family. I have a small amount that goes to the thrift store. We just did a huge closet clean out, and all of our clothes went to Hearts for the Homeless, and we were able to get rid of a lot of our stuff that way. And we may have some bigger changes coming soon. So it never hurts to have a little bit less in your home.
Woo.
So we are just kind of going through and being realistic with ourselves about what we actually use on a daily basis and what we're just storing, because I'm tired of just storing things and not being able to walk into closets.
It feels so good to get rid of stuff. That
Yeah.
could be the name of this podcast, because we talk about it all the time, but like, if you have an empty Friday night, an empty night of any kind, I promise you, put on an audiobook or a nice playlist and or this podcast,
Yes.
go through your closet, throw everything on the bed. It is the best feeling to declutter. I swear,
Yes.
it's like, maybe this is showing my age a little bit now, but it's like a high for me. Like, I truly get a high from
Me
it.
too.
Decluttering, getting rid of stuff I don't need, like, it is the best feeling. So
Yeah.
I love that for you.
And if you need a little inspiration, every year I run a decluttering challenge. So this year's the 2024 decluttering challenge for the year. So I have a grid that you can print off and color in 1 square per item that you get rid of. And there's 2024 squares on the print page out. And then I also have a list of 24 areas in your home that you could declutter, things that you could declutter, to help give you a little bit of motivation and inspiration. So you can just sign up for my newsletter in my bio, and then it comes to your email for free. I can also post it in the episode description if you're interested in that. And if you need a little bit of inspiration, that helps, because I don't know about you, but I am a to-do list person. I love crossing things off a to-do list.
Oh,
So
yeah.
coloring in a square per every item that you get rid of has been very motivational for me, because I really just want to get my challenge done, and I'm about halfway through. So I have 1,000 more items to get rid of, and hopefully I will be finishing that up before the end of the year.
And Maria, as we know, is a very over the top. I don't want to say over the top. She goes above and beyond.
No, I am over the top. You can say over
I
the
am
top.
too. So, if people don't like it, they don't like it. Sorry, I just stirred my coffee.
You quite literally started.
I just stirred it like into the mic. That was crazy.
That is staying in. You're welcome.
You're doing it now. You're like, not the clanging water bottle sounds.
Stanley Cup noises.
It's like this freaking theme song of this podcast at this point. I'm sorry, guys. Everyone needs a recording iced latte. Everyone needs one. You can't record a podcast without an iced latte. Come on, don't be silly.
True. I'm already out.
I know. I had to make
I
another
drank mine
one.
too
I got
quick.
it in the big boot. Look at this thing.
Nice.
The big one. I got 2.
That is a gorgeous. You thrifted.
Yeah,
that,
I thrifted
didn't
them
you?
both together.
Amazing.
The small one and the big one.
Amazing.
I know. It's insane. It's kind of hard to clean the toe. Like, you gotta get a brush that like goes into the toe.
Nobody take that out of context.
I am drinking out of a cowboy boot mug, a glass that I absolutely love, and they're in all my videos. Like, they're amazing. So you've probably seen them, but I'm just saying it's like it's a boot shape, so liquid goes into the toe of the boot.
Yeah.
Kind of makes it a little hard to clean, but is it worth it? Yes.
Does it not clean in the dishwasher?
It does, but like, I used to put smoothies in it, which is insane, yeah, I put it in the dishwasher.
Makes sense. So today we're talking all about overconsumption around the holidays. So I have a depressing but important stat to share. According to the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, Americans generate 25% more waste during the holiday season between Thanksgiving and New Year's Day. So a little bit over a month. And it translates to about 1 million extra tons of waste per week compared to the rest of the year.
Insane.
This is absolutely insane. And I don't think it always used to be this way.
Well, that's the recurring theme of our podcast. If you listen to our last episode about wedding culture and how much waste waste is generated by modern weddings, that was also the main takeaway, that it didn't used to be like this, and it really shouldn't be like this now. We've kind of lost the plot a little bit. So I would like to shed light on the fact that, before we get started, I'm a bit of a Scrooge, and I'm really sorry about that. I have to be honest. Just like not that into the holidays.
I'm offended.
I'm sorry. I can't change who I am. I've just never like cared that much. I'm
I
sorry.
am a holiday girly. This is the best time of
I
year.
love that for you.
Mid-September, I decorate for Halloween, and then it stays up through October, and then I have a box of fall decorations that are more like Thanksgiving themed that come out on November 1st, and then the day after Thanksgiving, I decorate
Oh
my house
my
for
gosh.
Christmas.
She has a schedule. Oh my gosh. See, I love that for you. I just quite literally can't be bothered. Like,
That that's
I'm
fair.
too lazy and I don't have space in this house. Like, this is a very small house.
That's fair.
And I also just don't want another thing to deal with. But I love that other people do it. I think it's fun. I just like didn't grow up in like a big holiday house. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand. I did grow up in what I would consider like a holiday house, but not all holidays, really just like fall through the beginning of the year. Fall through the new year was like our holidays, which is pretty standard, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah. Like you're not celebrating Memorial Day? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, yeah, we don't celebrate like 4th of July or Memorial Day or Flag Day or anything.
Do people celebrate Flag Day?
Probably somewhere. Hashtag America.
Yeah, someone on Instagram will link an outfit for their 2-year-old for Flag Day on Amazon. Sorry, again, such a cynical Scrooge right off the bat. I'm a big fan of Groundhog Day. I celebrate privately though.
I've had it. I can't.
That's just literally just a line from The Office. So
Oh
I
my god.
apologize in advance. That's literally just a line from The Office. So I'm really sorry.
So I think we're going to be very different about how we celebrate the holidays sustainably.
But I think that that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good because it brings some more perspective. Like on our last episode, Maria's talking about all the things she did for her sustainable wedding, and all I could take away from it was this is too much. It's so hard for people to plan a wedding. It's so hard
Mhm.
to do it sustainably in an industry that inherently is unsustainable just by the very
Yeah.
nature of what it's doing.
Which
So
exactly translates to the holiday industry.
the holidays, exactly, right? So holiday decor comes out sooner and sooner every year. To the point where like on September 1st there's Christmas decorations in the dollar store.
Yeah, we went to Home Goods for my birthday this year in August, and
That is such a funny birthday activity to me.
especially as being sustainable, we had a gift card, but we were looking at Halloween decor and we picked up a piece of Halloween decor.
Did you tell the people on the podcast what you did for your birthday this year? What you got for your birthday this year?
What are you talking about?
Maria, you literally adopted a cat.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
What do you think I was talking about? The Halloween decor?
No, I had no idea because I like to me like it was just like another day.
Right. And now this is coming out months after your birthday. But she literally texted me on her birthday just a photo of a cat at a rescue shelter, obviously. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so we expanded our family.
That's a life update that we waited way too long for.
We expanded our family from 4 to 5. The humans are now outnumbered by animals.
For those who aren't aware, she already had a cat and a dog.
I do, yes. We rescued a cat 3 years ago and then we adopted a dog last summer. So we always knew we want to be like 2 cats, 2 dogs. Eventually we'll get there one day.
2 dogs. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, not in our current house just because it's a little tight, a little close for comfort.
And Pepper is also like a high energy dog.
She's
right
a
now.
needy puppy. She's currently sitting next to me, giving me her paw. So we were walking around the mall because my husband needed to do some clothes shopping and he's weird about thrifting. So we were walking around the mall and then we are going to get dinner at the mall. But before we walked past a new location of one of the cat rescues around here, 10 Lives Club at the Walden Galleria Mall, if you're from this area. And they've just moved into that location. We were like, oh, we'll go in, we'll see it. Well, I'm sure we'll see cats. We've met cats over the last year and a half, but none of them really like stuck to us or that we were like, this is our cat. You're coming home with us?
Pepper said, "How dare you talk about a cat?"
I know. And we walked in and we met a couple cats, just like put our fingers near the cage, said hi, and then we met Jack, who is the meowiest cat you've
Meowiest.
ever met. He is adorable. He is 7 pounds, 2 years old, a solid black cat. He has a very tiny, tiny patch of white fur on his chest. We have a tuxedo cat named Waffles. Um, so we kind of gravitate toward black cats who are also often left at shelters more often because they're solid black. So we met Jack and we put a 24-hour hold on him. We went to eat dinner and I was like, I'm not leaving this mall without him. So we have another
Oh.
cat.
Yeah, I can't believe that didn't come up sooner. And I know it's off topic, but I was like,
I
we
know.
need to discuss this actually.
I know. I completely forgot that that's happened since then. So he's fitting in pretty well. He gets along with our cat super super well. He is scared of Pepper.
He did hide in the rafters of your house and get
Oh, he
lost.
actively sleeps in the rafters in our basement.
Okay, but the first time he did it, you thought he was just gone forever.
We had no idea where
He
he
was
was.
missing.
He
Yeah.
cuz he's solid black and we painted our basement ceiling black. So he quite literally could fit into the rafters and you'd never know he was there. Especially if his eyes were closed, and that was the problem. So we lost him for like 3 hours the first day and the second day that we got him.
And you literally had no idea
No
where he
idea
was.
where he
Yeah.
was.
She was texting me and she sent me a photo and I'm like, this photo tells me nothing. Like I still can't see him in the photo. Like he's just not even there. Like she's like, look at him in the rafters. I'm like, I see nothing.
Yeah. So that was fun. We had to close off a couple rafters to him just because they were dusty and they had cords and stuff in there and we were worried about it. So we did end up closing up a couple rafters, but he does sleep in our new rafters that are spray painted black. And let me tell you, when this cat wants to sleep, he will not be disturbed. He will not come out for treats. He will not come out for wet food. He will just, he will sleep and you will not be able to find him. So
I'm happy for him. I love that.
he's very low maintenance. And then when Pepper goes into the crate at night for bed, he comes up and sleeps with us in bed now. So
Sounds low maintenance to me.
yeah, he does.
Oh, he does? With Waffles too?
Yeah. The two of them get
Oh.
along super well. They sleep together. They groom each other. So they get along really well.
That's so awesome. It is so cute when cats groom each other.
I know.
My stray cats in the
know.
backyard, they're brothers. We call them the twins, and they
Oh.
groom each other and they give each other shoulder massages.
Oh.
It's the cutest thing I've ever seen.
I love cats.
I know, I love animals too. There's a couple in our backyard that, well, I had Graham, you guys know, RIP, my king.
We love Graham.
Who my backyard stray that showed up that we adopted, and then he died. Very sad. So after Graham died, I had all of his food. I had just ordered him a big box of food, and it was just making me sad these past couple of months, just seeing it every time I opened my cabinet. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna do something with it. And I had some friends, nobody wanted it. And I was like, I have all these stray cats in the yard. I'll just feed it to them. Well, guess what? Now there's like 7 of them that show up. And they're all fixed. And some of them are very feral. And then there's a few that like really are cute that I really like that have potential. So they're kind of like my little backyard kitties. But anyways, it's that was off topic, but it needed to be said. Maria now has 2 cats and a dog.
The humans are outnumbered by animals in this household.
That's so fun. I love that. So that's awesome. So anyways,
overconsumption around the holidays.
Speaking of Halloween, she did adopt a black cat. So
true.
Little spooky treat.
He doesn't need a costume this year. He's already spooky enough. My Jack Black.
Yeah. I also don't need a costume this year because I'm spooky enough. And because I'm a Scrooge that doesn't enjoy the holidays. So, it's not that I don't enjoy it. I'm just not like a holiday person. Like you're probably going to be disturbed by this information, but I have been alone, like out in the world on my own coming up on 11 years. And I've never once had a Christmas tree. in my own house.
What?
I just like don't have room for it, and I don't care.
Ah!
But I don't spend Christmas here because I don't have any family
Oh,
here.
that's fair. You go home
So,
for Christmas.
well, I go to my mom's, yeah. So,
Does she
um,
have a Christmas tree?
yeah, she actually has a living Christmas tree that she plants in her yard every year. So that's pretty cool. My sustainable queen, Karen.
Goals.
Yeah, but I just don't do much for the holidays. But I recognize that it's a very unsustainable time, and consumerism is through the roof as just baseline now all the time. But the holidays are definitely a bad time. So let's talk about some of the biggest sources of waste during the holiday season. I think like the decor.
Decor is definitely a biggest source of waste. If you are not reusing your decor year to year because you don't have space or whatnot, what are you doing? You are wasting so much money. So store it in reusable bins if you don't already. Save money, save waste.
And if you don't have storage, if you don't have space to store your stuff, then you need to cut back on your
Yes.
decor. I'm sorry.
Or you can switch to natural decor instead of artificial if you can.
Right. Plants, make a little garland with some oranges, some apples. Like I did a couple years ago, some star fruit. That was
Mhm.
pretty cool.
And this is something I would love to do. Unfortunately, I'm allergic to Christmas trees, so I haven't had a real Christmas tree since I was like 2. If you can't do natural decor, like I Lauren did this last year or the year before. She has a potted tree that she uses as a Christmas tree. I want nothing more than to be able to get a potted evergreen tree that would live outside and then be brought in for the winter, but I can't. So instead, we have a reusable tree that we spent a decent amount of money for. The lights can all be replaced when they need to be, and it's something that's going to last a lifetime.
And honestly, there could be an argument that that's more sustainable.
Oh yeah, especially if you're somebody who just like puts your tree in the landfill at the end of the holiday season. To some degree, I do think that um having an artificial tree could be more sustainable, but to each their own.
Yeah, I mean there's arguments for both. Not that this is a Christmas episode, but that's
Mhm.
definitely something I get asked around Christmas. The pros are that the live Christmas tree is like a renewable resource. It's biodegradable, and then
Mhm.
of course you can buy it from like a local farm, which supports like a little mom and pop thing. And then the cons are that sometimes they use pesticides on the trees, and then
Yeah.
disposal in the landfill, like they don't really decompose well in a landfill.
No.
And it's also one of those things where people will just have like a dead Christmas tree in their yard for months on end. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Or they'll burn it. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then of course, like if you have a fake tree that's going to last you for like 10 years, then it's definitely more sustainable.
Yeah, absolutely. And even then, like my parents had the same fake Christmas tree for like 20 years. They only just recently got a nicer, newer one. The other one that they had was when we had to restring the lights every single year. And my parents obviously getting older, so now they got a tree like the ones that we have where you just like the lights are on it and you just like stack the pieces
Yeah.
as opposed to like putting all of the branches in the pole and doing all of that. So trees can last a very long time, artificial trees.
Plastic ones. Yeah.
And same with decor. I mean, I've had the same decor since I decorated for my college dorm room 8 years ago. A lot of that decor is still
You
fine.
decorated your college
I'm
dorm
a
room?
holiday person
Oh, you
for
really are.
Halloween and
Wow. That's
Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Oh my gosh, I bet your roommate felt so lucky. That's so
Yeah,
fun.
so I still have all of that decor. So save your decor, and if for some reason you can or don't want to, pick natural decor. Like you did the star fruit.
That's the only thing I've ever done.
I
Yeah.
love it
No,
though.
I do too. Yeah, I basically Starfruit is local to where I live. So, that's something I was able to find on a tree that's right near my house, and I just cut it up and dehydrated it and made a little garland. I need to do it again this year because that tree continues to make fruit.
You should have to. You didn't
So
even have to go to the grocery store. I could get star fruit at my grocery store, but
I
not just
know.
on a random tree.
Yeah, it's definitely, maybe that's
It's
why
so
I'm
cool.
not that into, maybe that's it.
Maybe
Maybe
because it's
that's
Florida. Doesn't feel like
maybe
fall
yeah,
or
maybe it's because I'm
winter.
just yeah. Maybe it's cuz there's no seasons. I don't know.
Is that a
Like
thing? Like, are a lot of people in your area
I'm
like
not
that?
anti-holiday. There's just not seasons here, so like Christmas doesn't feel like you have like a white Christmas.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah. We don't have that. Obviously.
And that would make sense then as to why like you're not a big holiday person.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I go to Asheville, North Carolina for Christmas the past like 5 years. My mom lives there and we've had a white Christmas up there before, which was the first one ever. Um and it got down to -2. That was actually the same Christmas that you guys got snowed in and like everyone in Buffalo almost died.
Yeah, we were fortunate enough to not lose power, but a lot of people in Buffalo did, and a lot of people got trapped
Super scary.
at like the local Target, and several people got trapped in their vehicles because the storm came 3 hours earlier than everybody expected. All the businesses were going to close at 3 p.m. The storm actually came at like noon. So a lot of people ended up trapped in their vehicles on the way home. Some people were trapped in grocery stores and like trapped in the local Target. We missed Christmas. We were snowed
Yeah.
in. So
Yeah, so
yeah, I would rather take a Florida Christmas. Thank you.
Florida Christmas is fun because you can like ride your bike to all the little Christmas lights, but you're in like, a long sleeve shirt and that's it. So, Maria, as a self proclaimed holiday girl, have you seen a rise in excessive consumerism around the holidays
Oh,
on social media?
absolutely. I have to like tell myself that I don't have to go all out decorating every year because you see all of this decorations all out every year. Every year I feel like people are buying more and more gifts for people, and it's almost starting to lose value, which sounds horrible. Um but the holidays are almost starting to lose value just because they've been turned into like this over consuming, like another opportunity to overconsume.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a big problem. And
It's frustrating.
it's actually ties in quite nicely with our last episode about wedding culture and how unsustainable that's gotten. So, what do you think is like the worst culprit in terms of consumerism on the holidays and excessive consumption? I think I'll just turn this into an interview format where I interview you as a certified holiday person.
I think it's twofold. I think there are two answers to that. One of them is definitely decor. A lot of people are buying new decor every year, buying excessive amounts of decor, and not thrifting. Also, because if you don't thrift stores are loaded with decor all year round. Almost all of our decor is thrifted. Very rarely do we buy new
Or
pieces.
you can DIY it. You can do it you can make your own. Yeah.
Or you can DIY it. And I also think the gift buying and consumerism for buying people gifts over the holidays is really bad.
Right. So, for the record, I am pro regifting. And I am anti buying people gifts just for the sake of buying them a gift. Because
Yes.
every year, people give and receive gifts that everyone knows there is absolutely no chance of it actually getting used or utilized to the fullest extent that it can be. Like, this is just a PSA for the two relatives I have that listen to this podcast. Please don't buy me anything. I mean that in the nicest possible way. It's just that I don't need anything.
We're at the age that if we need something, we go buy it.
Well, also, if you know me well, then you get a good gift. I am so appreciative, and it's just above and beyond. I feel like crying every time I get a gift that I'm like, this is it.
Yeah.
Um, however, if you don't know the person and you're just getting them a gift just to check a box, odds are it's not going to be something that they use.
Yep.
So, as we've said, and again, this is not like a Christmas episode, but it is relevant. When you're choosing gifts for people, consumables are amazing.
Yes.
My mom, for the last like 10 years, has been making everyone for Christmas. She makes a giant homemade batch of granola and she makes the best granola. And then she puts it in mason jars with a little bow on it that says her name on it and the person's name. And she gives it to people and they are so much more grateful for it
Yeah.
than if it had been just like some Amazon stuff.
Alternatively, I 110% agree with gifting consumables. Alternatively, if you come from a family that doesn't gift consumables or doesn't do that and does like actual gifts, I have found that I have a note on my phone that I come up with ideas for people throughout the year. Like my cousin, for example,
That is so smart.
he mentioned in like July of last year that he really loved his air fryer. He just got a new air fryer. It was awesome. So I then wrote in my phone notes, air fryer. For Christmas that year, I got him a cookbook with air fry recipes.
That's so
I got him a
smart.
reusable air fryer basket and like some other sustainable like silicone pot holders and just like some other stuff that like went along with it.
Air fryer
Yes. And
accessories.
so
Yeah, that's
I have
awesome.
found that putting a note on my phone and coming up with ideas all year round has been huge, especially if you come from a family that doesn't gift consumables. But also, I love consumables.
Right. Or you could just encourage your family to give consumable. Yeah, like last Christmas, I made a
Yes.
bunch of hot sauce and gifted little bottles of hot sauce, and that was really cool. I think people really liked that, and I had a
Yeah.
great time making it. It was fun. So, highly recommend that. And
One year we did vanilla extract, and that went over super well.
that is so smart. I'm 100% going to be stealing that.
It's amazing. Everybody loved it. And then one year we also made jars of taco seasoning with the recipe on it so then people could refill the jars, which self promo. I now have those labels in my website shop.
That's a
But
great gift, is anything from Maria's shop.
the labels are huge. And then they tell people how they can refill it. And everybody that we gifted the jars of taco seasoning to uses them regularly. So that's another really easy gift that's a good consumable.
I'm 100% stealing your vanilla extract gift idea. I will absolutely be ordering vanilla splits from Nice Spice.
Yes, I always recommend ordering their vanilla beans and vanilla splits.
Yes, 100%. So, for those who aren't aware, Maria has videos on it, but you can make vanilla extract just by basically soaking vanilla beans in alcohol. Um, and it's a really cute gift that people will really appreciate. And people really like the hot sauce. I made some tea blends one year. I've done the granola. I think people really appreciate it because it's something a little different. And it's like, oh, there's like care that went into this, versus just an Amazon order.
Yeah, and like I understand there's some things that you don't get away with. Like we have nieces who are 1 and 4. Like they're not really gonna
Yeah.
appreciate a consumable. So instead, we ask their parents what could they use? What clothing size could they use? What toys do they want? And we ask their parents. So if that's something that, if you're adamant about getting an actual gift for somebody, a niece or a nephew or a friend, ask them what they would use, what they would like, and don't be afraid to ask because then they'll get something that they'll actually use and you know that it won't end up in a thrift store or a landfill within 6 months.
Yeah, that's a great point to make. So we've talked about gifts being a source of consumerism and waste. We've talked about decorations. I want to talk a little bit about the gifting thing. For the record, I am pro regifting. If somebody
Oh,
gifts
I
you
love,
something that you do
yes.
not like, and I know this is like a social taboo, if somebody gifts you something that
Mm-hmm.
you do not care about or do not like, that you have every right to regift that, thrift that, donate that, sell that, whatever. Once a gift has been
Yes.
given to you, you have no obligation. You don't have to throw it in their face that you didn't like the gift. But I regift things all
Yes.
the time, and my friends and family know, and they're not offended by that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if I have something that I am not going to get use out of, and somebody else is, that just seems like a no-brainer to me. That's just the right thing to do. So
Yep.
for the record, if you have an unwanted gift, please take that out of your life. I don't like things taking up space in my brain or my house that I'm not going to use or that don't represent my values or whatever. And there's always going to be somebody who is in need of that, and or, buy nothing groups, all of the above. So,
Another alternative for regifting is make a white elephant box. So when we get gifts that we don't like, we put a post-it note on who it was from and put it in the white elephant box. And then every holiday, we always have white elephants with somebody, and we always write who it's from so that they're not actively in the white elephant knowing that we gave their gift away in a white elephant. But we always have them with friends and with a certain side of the family. Use it as a white elephant gift to give away.
when it comes to gifts, I personally I've talked about this on the podcast. I receive PR. I'm a content creator. So does Maria. We keep the PR that we receive that is not of use to us in a
Yes.
designated place. Like, I have a basket in my bathroom that it's a bunch of random stuff that I've either been sent or people have gifted me that I'm not going to use. I keep it in that basket. And then anytime, let's say I'm running to someone's birthday dinner or something, I go through that basket and I use stuff from that basket. And some people might not be happy about that. Obviously, if they're a close friend, I want to get them like a personalized gift. But hey, if I've got a couple bars of shampoo and like some makeup that a company has sent me that I don't need and it's going to brighten someone else's day, I mean, that's a no-brainer. And if somebody gifts me something that I don't need or that I'm not getting a lot of use out of, I think passing it along is like the best thing you can do. So,
Completely agree. PR baskets are the
oh
best.
my gosh, the best. My girlfriends, they know. Just ask me first before you buy it, please. I might have it. On the topic of Black Friday and like the sales that happen around the holidays, because there's usually a sale for every holiday too. It's not just Black Friday, but that's like the big one here in the States. The statistic that has stayed with me forever throughout my life that will never leave me is that up to 80% of goods bought during Black Friday end up discarded within the first year.
Absolutely crazy.
Crazy.
That is not normal.
Like, I knew that the number would be high, but 80% is insane. Like,
Mhm.
that's so crazy because it's impulse buys, right? We've had, entire episodes about consumerism and consumption and feeling the need to have something. So highly recommend if you're shopping these sales during the holiday season, a technique that I have implemented throughout my life that I admittedly did not implement last night when I did some stress shopping online. Anyways, is Friday checkout day. I don't know if you've ever heard about this. It wouldn't apply to secondhand purchases that you got to purchase quick online or something because there's just one. But like, let's say you want a product and it's going to be on sale. The impulse is what kills you, right? The impulse, the like, I need it now, that sort of thing. So I have a list in my Notion of things that it's like 1 day purchases, and I put them in there, and if I'm still thinking about it for a long period of time, I then it's a real want. It's not an impulse buy. So, and that's a big thing with like fashion
Yeah.
trends, etc. Like things, it's like, okay, I want it 1 week, and the next week I'm like, I could have gone without. Like, uh, uh, you know, if it's something you've wanted for a long time, you can maybe wait until those days to buy it. Like Black Friday, like for example, I wanted my Aura ring for a long time and I waited until Black Friday to buy it because I knew it was actually going to benefit me. But that's a good example. And then, this is just aside from the sales and everything. If there's something you think you want, open a tab on your computer, have the little checkout right there, and leave it until the following Friday. And I know that sounds crazy in this like world.
No, I think that's a great idea.
Right. So they call it Friday checkout days. I can't remember where I saw it online, but if there's something sitting open on your computer and you're thinking about it every day, every day, every day, and you're like, I'm going to buy it, wait and see if the following Friday you still feel that way. Of course, this is not for necessities that we need for our day
Yeah.
to day lives. Like, I know you need to buy things, but, things that are optional. And then that's a pretty good indicator that you really do want it and it's not coming from this impulsive need, which these sales really create that within us, this like, oh, we got to buy this now. So that's something to keep in mind.
I also tried to stay off the internet during Black Friday. And
Oh my
this has
gosh.
been
Probably a good
the
idea.
last year or two is when it's really been shared that this is an issue. A lot of corporations and larger companies will mark the prices of their items up a month before Black Friday or big holiday sales and then mark it down for the exact same price. So
Mhm.
if you do want to buy something and you're like, "Oh, maybe on Black Friday it will be cheaper," do some research ahead of time, see what price they actually are sold for regular day to day before just up and ordering whatever you're thinking of. That has also really helped, and I know that there's been a lot of traction on the internet in the last few years of companies doing that and evidence of companies doing that. So just keep that in mind.
You're not getting as good of a deal as you think you are.
No.
It's the price that the thing is worth. And odds are, depending on what we're talking about, obviously, this can change. But generally speaking, you should be able to find it secondhand, probably for cheaper,
Yes.
depending again on what we're talking about. But
Yeah.
like, let's say there's these really cute jeans that I've been wanting for a while, and the jeans are on Black Friday, they're $49.99 and they're normally $150. Guess what? The actual value of those jeans for the company is $49.99. Like they're
Yeah.
not going below that. So that's something to be mindful.
And they're also banking on that you're going to buy several other things when you buy those jeans.
100%. And you are, especially to reach a shipping minimum. So it's, something to think about. It's not entirely related to the holiday stuff that we wanted to talk about, but it is because
Yeah.
in the US, Thanksgiving is pretty much goes hand in hand with Black Friday.
Yep.
It's crazy that that's true, but it is. Another thing to avoid impulse consumerism around the holidays, and we've did an entire episode about this earlier, but I keep a note in my phone of criteria for buying material items.
Hmm.
And it's really hard, and I'm not saying I don't slip up, like I do for sure slip up. However, I have this note in my phone and I'm able to take a look at it and say, okay, do I actually need this? And it's a little checklist. I go through it. I have it listed, all over. I have it in our other episode. I have it on my page and made some videos about it. And I just think it's important to keep note. Keep a note in your phone so that you can refer back to. Anyways, so that's talking on the whole sale side of things and consumerism.
Well, so I know that this episode is not only just Christmas, so I also want to bring up the fact that Halloween is around the corner and that you may be needing a Halloween costume and looking at Spirit Halloween or Amazon to spend $80 on a costume that you'll wear once and never again. And that is made very inexpensive and quality, very low quality. So if this is something in your wheelhouse that you can do, take the time, see if you can thrift a costume or make stuff from your own closet. I have a video with 20 Halloween costumes that are made from things from my own minimalist ish closet. And it's definitely doable to do. You just have to think outside the box. But
Also, thrift stores, a lot of the time, thrift stores will have an entire rack of costumes.
yes,
So
exactly.
that's something to consider. So always secondhand is better. Also, I'm literally opening the app as we speak. You can pull up, Mercari, Poshmark, ThreadUp, all of these different sites where, there really are very few excuses for not choosing secondhand first because nowadays you can literally just pull it up in front of you, search for exactly what you want, and it will be available secondhand, which is a very disturbing indication of just how much stuff is being consumed. And but let's do the best that we can. So choosing secondhand first is a really important way to go about things.
And also save your costumes. We have a bin in our basement labeled Halloween costumes
Mm-hmm.
that if we thrift something specific or buy something specific for it, it goes into a bag labeled with what it is and it goes into our Halloween costumes bin.
Right, that's really good. So decor bin, costume bin, just keeping everything neat and organized. Bins is really nice.
All the holiday
Little
bins.
craft bin for holiday crafting and DIYing, etc. So there's really a lot that you can do on an individual level to reduce your consumerism around the holidays, which is consumerism time. Let's be honest. Like, I think maybe that's why
That's fair.
I'm not as much of a holiday person, at least in part, because I associate the holidays with just like excessive
Yeah.
consumerism and environmental disaster. And I don't know. That's sad that I maybe feel that way deep down, but that's the truth. So There are things you can do to be more eco-friendly during the holidays. And I will say what it really comes down to, as cliche as this is, what it really comes down to is spending time doing things you care about with people you care about. That's what it's actually about. That's what all the holidays are actually about. I know it's cliche, but it's the truth. And that doesn't require consumerism. If you want to get together with your family, instead of exchanging gifts, you could have a night where everybody makes gifts for each other. Everybody bakes a bunch of stuff together and has a nice dinner together. That could be, a new tradition. And you can also establish some, I don't want to say rules because that makes it sound like it's not fun, but
Yeah.
you can establish some rules like, okay, let's do an all secondhand Christmas this year. Let's do an all secondhand Halloween. And that's a cool way to go about it.
One of my favorite ways to celebrate the holidays is by doing like holiday themed experiences. So
I love
we
that.
go to the cider mill. We go to the cider mill in October every year. We go apple picking. We
That's so fun.
like do all of these things that are not based around consumerism, but that are based around like the actual holiday experiences. Then you get to do them with friends and family and all of that.
Yeah, and you can make memories. And,
Yeah.
if you do consumables there, like we all buy each other something.
We buy apple cider and we buy
Mhm.
apples when we go, but it's less about
Yeah.
like it's more about the holiday and it's fun. So start doing that instead of going to the mall for Black Friday. Do something like that. Make cookies every year with family. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be like even out of the house.
There's a lot that can be done to make it a more sustainable experience, whether that's sustainable in terms of like your money, and not spending a ton of money on the holidays, whether that's sustainable in terms of like the environment, all of the above. Like the holidays, I think, tend to overwhelm a lot of people. They give people a lot of anxiety. People get very stressed. So I would say just get back to basics. I know a lot of people that don't have close relationships with their family members. Like this time of year is very stressful for them. And I can relate to a certain extent. So, highly recommend take that pressure off of yourself to like have this weird, perfect holiday situation. And just kind of enjoy what it's actually about, which is really, it's supposed to be a break. It's supposed to be time for everyone to slow down, be together, enjoy themselves. That's very important. So, yeah. So, the focus should not be on consumerism. The focus should be about the stuff that actually matters. And I will stand by that.
This goes without saying, but if you are somebody who is buying gifts for the holiday season, support small businesses. Go onto Etsy and find small businesses, support local makers in your community. Do not just go to Amazon and buy things. Don't just go to Target and buy things. There are so many small businesses in your community and in your area that would love your support.
100%. And I have said it 30,000 times in this episode. I will continue to say it. If I get a gift from someone from Amazon, this is not meant to be mean, but it just doesn't mean anything to me. It just
Or
doesn't.
TikTok shop.
Oh my gosh, no one better get a gift from TikTok Shop for me. But then if I get a gift that I know somebody took the time to think specifically about me and what I like and to think about my values, which right like I don't really support Amazon. I don't that's not something I really want to be associated with. If somebody takes the time to make a gift or to even get a small gift that has more meaning behind it, or support a small business or something,
Mhm.
personalized to me, it means the world versus just somebody clicking something on Amazon.
And when in doubt, get a gift card for somebody. I know it's like you don't want to do that, but get a gift card for somebody. Then they can pick out quite literally what they need. Or when in doubt, get them a gas gift card. If they have a car, get them a gas gift card.
Oh, yeah, no, that's actually great.
Grocery gift cards, quite literally. Anything that somebody uses is better than some random thing that you think they might use.
Honestly, a gift card is super. I am pro gift card. Money.
Or get them a gift card to dinner at a local restaurant or like
Yeah, we're always going to need to go to the grocery store. We're always going to need to go to Target for certain things. Like, that's very nice. Gift cards to small businesses actually might be an elite gift. A gift card to a small local business, wow.
oh, absolutely.
That's so
Absolutely.
nice. I would love that. Yeah, so that kind of covers the gift side of things, I think, and we rambled on for quite some time, but we would be remiss if we did not touch on holiday food waste in this episode.
We always have to talk about holiday food waste.
Food waste is a big passion of mine and yours as well. So we have to discuss the amount of food that is wasted during the holidays truly makes me want to scream. It's absolutely horrifying to me. And it's something that needs to be addressed. For the record, I think holiday leftovers are delicious. Like Thanksgiving food the
Oh,
next day is so good. And I hope that the rest of America feels that way.
we always have day after Thanksgiving leftover dinner. Always, every year.
You have to for like a week
Yeah.
afterwards. But please don't make food that nobody wants. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know about you. I don't eat meat, so I'm very biased in this way. But I've heard from multiple people that like they don't really like turkey that much. Like for example, like okay, so the Thanksgiving turkey, if you're not American, it is the thing. On Thanksgiving everyone gets a turkey. If turkey was that good, people would eat it more than once a year.
Yes.
The reality is most people are not eating a baked turkey
No.
multiple times a year. They're doing it once a year, which it's like how good can it be?
Yes. My parents, I came from a family of meat eaters, which sounds weird saying meat eaters, but I grew up eating meat. I don't eat meat now. My husband does not eat meat either. So the one time a year I will eat turkey, but my parents make a big turkey and then they freeze it and then they eat the rest of it at other parts throughout the year.
Like sandwiches, yeah.
So if you're gonna do it, freeze it after you bake it, after you cook it, and use it.
Yeah, and make sure that the people that are coming to your house for Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever, they actually want to eat
We'll
it.
actually eat it. Yeah.
Because like people will make things for the sake of tradition, like the turkey is a good example, but also like a Christmas
Mhm.
ham,
I hate ham.
like my it's I don't know that many people that just eat just sliced ham. Like maybe they'll eat like a ham sandwich,
Never.
but don't make food that people aren't
Yeah.
going to eat. So like you can ask people, you could genuinely ask people and you don't have to do things just for the sake of like this is how it's always been done. If no one wants to eat, I don't know, what's a side? What's a Thanksgiving side that like people that it's just kind of there? Is it the stuffing?
Uh, the best side? Don't you dare take away my stuffing.
Yeah, I like no, I like the stuffing. I'm trying to think of like traditional sides that I'm like,
Like
what?
corn? Like why would people go
Is
for
that a
corn when you have
Thanksgiving
all the other
side?
things? I think we
I don't
typically
know.
have corn.
I feel like there's families that just make certain things because it's like this is what you do. And then it's like,
Yeah.
do people actually like this? Because we don't need to do this. Like
Yeah.
for Thanksgiving, we end up cooking things that we actually like and we just go
Mhm.
a little bit over the top and do things we wouldn't normally do, but
Yeah.
it's like nice stuff that everyone actually wants to eat. Like
Yeah.
there's no obligation to make a whole turkey, which I understand is a very laborious process. um or it can be. It's like there's no need to do that. You don't have to do that. If people aren't going to eat it if they don't want it, then don't. So you can just ask.
Mhm.
You just ask people like, "Hey, what do you want to do for Thanksgiving? Like, are you going to be upset if I don't make a turkey?" And if your family says yes,
Besides, the sides are better
right, the
anyways.
sides are the best. But that's just one example. Like I think the Christmas ham is a thing. I don't know if anyone is still doing fruitcake, but my nanny,
Ew.
I know, but my nanny, my grandmother, um, was from England and she passed away. But we called her nanny. That's in the UK. That's what you call your grandmother. But I didn't have a I was not raised with a nanny, okay? I I didn't have a nanny. I That's my grandmother. That's what I call her grandmother. That's why I'm giving that disclaimer. But she was English and the Christmas fruitcake was a big thing. She'd have a fruitcake out every year and not a single person but her ate that fruitcake. And if she wants to eat
Yikes.
it, do your thing, but it's like that's just going to go in the trash.
Mhm.
So ask yourself, what do people actually want to eat? What's actually delicious? Because the holidays, the best part is the food, let's be honest.
Yep.
So food waste is a huge problem. Everybody that leaves, whoever is hosting the holidays, tell people to bring reusable containers to your house.
Yes.
And then they can take leftovers home and they will be stoked. And then there's less food waste and then they don't have to cook and it's just a win-win-win for everyone. So
Yes.
either have some containers ready for people to take food home or tell them, I think it's a good idea to tell people, come with a couple
Yeah.
Tupperwares, bring them to my house because I want you to take food
Or
home.
stick your leftovers into super cubes.
Yeah. Great idea. We love super cubes. Yeah, so we want to be very mindful. Don't make things people aren't going to want. Be able to freeze. If you make a giant batch of something, freezing is always going to be my go-to method for food waste reduction. Maria's as well. Keep things that you can freeze and then eat on a rainy day, like even a month later,
Yep.
and then give your leftovers away to your family and friends. And I think when in doubt, if you're considering, should I make this? Are people going to eat it? No, just don't.
True.
It's less work on you. It's less money wasted, less food that has the potential to be wasted. So that's that.
And compost any food scraps.
Yes, compost any food scraps, please. And you can also donate food. Maybe not prepared food, but if you
Yes.
have leftovers, you can donate it. A lot of soup kitchens will be doing things for the holidays. You can donate things afterwards. I'm not sure if they all accept, like prepared foods, but if you have a homeless shelter in your area or anything of the sort, you can donate stuff.
In the last couple of years, I've seen too on our Buy Nothing groups or my town Facebook groups, people who are saying, like, I don't have the means to make a Thanksgiving dinner. Does anybody have extra? And then people will make plates for people in the community with their leftovers.
That is
So that's
beautiful.
definitely something to do. I know, right?
Getting back to the cheesy stuff, that's what the holidays are actually about. Like, that's actually what it's about. It's
Exactly.
not about having the most Instagram worthy living room setup. It's about actually giving back and getting back to basics and what actually matters. So I think that's a good place to end it.
I agree.
So I hope you guys have a beautiful holiday season. At the time of this episode's release, we will be coming up on Halloween. Our next episode will be coming out November 1st, which is right before the election. So I hope everybody has a safe and happy and fun Halloween. And that's kind of the kickoff for the entire holiday season. So let's start it off on a good note with some eco minimalist principles in place.
And register to vote if you haven't registered to vote.
Oh my gosh, I think it'll be too late at the time of this coming out. But if your state still allows you to register to vote, please do. And please find your polling place and have a plan for your
Make a
voting.
plan to go vote.
Yes, please, please,
Do
please.
your research if that's what you want to do before. Get that research done now, out of the way.
You can vote early in some states at this point in time. Some states you can't. You can vote by mail. Do your research, figure out how you can get to the polls. This is very, very important. And
Yeah.
we will see you again right before Election Day. Thank you so much for listening. And we really are so grateful to have this platform where we can kind of talk in a bit of an insane way and just kind of let the conversation flow about things that are important to us. So thank you for giving us the space to do that. We're incredibly grateful.
We appreciate all 5 of our listeners, and we're happy that you're here.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm Maria, one of your hosts. I know that was weird.
Yep.
I'm cutting that out.
Do it again. You want me to do it?
I did the beginning. Do we really need to introduce ourselves every time?
I don't know. Someone might be listening for the first time.
Okay.
But
I'm Maria.
do we need to introduce ourselves every time?
Probably not. I'm Maria, one of the co-hosts. Oh my God. Was that English?
That was worse.
I'm